students, welcome back to our channel Gyan Manji Online Education. I hope you all are fine and safe at your home. So my dear all students, in our last lecture we had completed our first unit which contains one chapter and one poem. So from today onwards, we are going to start our second poem, and the name of the poem is A Tiger in the Zoo by Leslie Norris. So let's get started about this second poem, A Tiger in the Zoo. So when we specifically we read the title A Tiger in the Zoo, so we can predict the meaning that animal, a tiger, that is in the zoo, right? So let's see what is there in the poem. So here we have the small intro of the poet Leslie Norris. So George Leslie Norris, the full name of the poet George Leslie Norris. He was born on 21st May 1921 and he died at 6th April 2006. A Welsh poet and short story writer. Welsh poet means who belonging to Wales country. So that is the country in UK, United Kingdom. So he was from Wales country. So that's why he is known as Welsh poet. So Welsh poet and short story writer, especially of the post-war period. So he was a poet and the short story writer of the post-war period. वॉर के पहले के टाइम के जो कोई भी राइटर हुए, जो कोई भी पोएट हुए, सो ही वॉज वन ऑफ दैम. And he has also published translations, biographies and reviews. So he is very well-known poet. He was a teacher and became a principal and later became a lecturer. So first he was a teacher, पहले टीचर थे, फिर प्रिंसिपल बने और बाद में लेक्चरर बने. जो कॉलेज में पढ़ाते हैं वो लेक्चरर. His first poem was published in 1938 and in 1943 his first wall of the some book was 1943 his first book of that was published. So the first poem was published in 1938. So his collection of works, here we have the collection of his works: Finding Gold, The Loud Window, Holy Places and A Tiger in the Zoo. Right, so here we are going with the fourth collection. Right, so that is A Tiger in the Zoo. So let's get started over this poem. So here first of all we have the introduction of the poem. So this poem brings a contrast between the life of a tiger in the zoo and the life of a tiger in the natural habitat of a forest, where he not only wanders in the forest without any restrictions but also strikes terror among the people of the villages located near the edge of the forest. So here what the poet wants to tell us, this poem brings a contrast between, कहाँ का contrast है, contrast between the life of a tiger, टाइगर की लाइफ के बारे में यहाँ पे बात की गई है, उसके लाइफ के कॉन्ट्रास्ट की बात की गई है between a tiger in the zoo and the life of a tiger in the natural habitat of a forest. So the life of the tiger. So two tigers. First tiger that is in the cage and the second tiger that is in the forest. Right? So that is the contrast. कि एक जो है वो नेचुरल हैबिटेट में रहता है और एक जो है वो केज में रहता है. तो यहाँ पर एक ही टाइगर की बात की गई है, बट हियर वी विल सी द कॉन्ट्रास्ट, how he looks and how he looks when he is in the cage and he is in the forest. So where he not only wanders in the forest without any restriction but also strikes terror among the people of the villages. If the tiger is not there in the cage, if the tiger is there at the edge of the forest, so on the on that time the terror will be there इन ऑल द विलेजेस. अगर टाइगर केज में है, पिंजरे में है, तो उसे देखने को हम लोग जाते हैं, वी विल नॉट फील स्कैर, राइट. पर अगर वो ऐसे ही बाहर घूमता है, हम लोग ऐसे न्यूज़ में देखते हैं, राइट, कि अब तो वो विलेजेस में भी आ जाता है, तो वो क्या होता है, टेरर फैलाता है, आतंक फैलाता है अपना, तो उससे जो विलेजर्स है वो डर जाते हैं. सो दैट इज़ द कॉन्ट्रास्ट. केज में कैसा होता है और बाहर ऐसे वंडर घूमता है, तो तब वो कैसा होता है. थ्रू दिस द पोएम इज ट्राइंग the poet is trying to convey the idea that wild animals must be left free to enjoy in their natural surrounding. He feels that an animal which is enslaved and caged is deprived of its freedom. So, here, what the poet wants to tell us throughout this poem, the poet is trying to convey with us, is trying to convey the idea that wild animals must be left free to enjoy their natural surrounding. उसे फ्री रखने चाहिए, केज में ऐसे बंद करके नहीं रखने चाहिए, फ्री जो खुद का अपना नेचुरल सराउंडिंग है वहाँ पर ही रखना चाहिए. ही फील्स दैट एन एनिमल विच इज़ एंस्लेव्ड एंड केज इज डिप्रिव्ड ऑफ इट्स फ्रीडम. वो कैसे फिल करते हैं फ्रीडम के बिना, that is explained very well. And he also feels that the animals survive better in natural habitats than in the confines of the zoo, of course. Therefore, man must let them lead a natural life in a natural environment. So, tiger, that is the natural. So, man must let them lead a natural life इन अ नेचुरल एनवायरनमेंट. उसे नेचर का जो एनवायरनमेंट है वो मिलना ही चाहिए. सो दैट इज़ द मैसेज द पोएट वांट्स टू टेल अस. सो हियर वी हैव द फर्स्ट स्टांजा. सो इन दिस पोएम वी हैव टोटल 5 स्टांजा. So let's go with the first stanza. So you can see 4 lines for one stanza. So he stalks in his vivid strips the few steps of his cage on pads of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. So here the first stanza, the description of the tiger is there. How he walks, how his physical appearance is there. He stalks in his vivid strips, various stripes. He has various stripes on his body. The few steps of his cage on paths of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. So let's see. So here we have the first stanza. So the new words we have, stalks means here, that is a verb like walk. Means he stalks, he walks. Vivid means bright or bright and colored. Various or bright color. Pads means paws of the tiger. Rage means anger. So in the very first stanza, the poet portrays the tiger, which is actually gigantic with its bright colored stripes, that has been confined to the cage of the zoo. Its movement is restricted because the cage is cramped. The small space of the cage restricted his movement and allows him to take only a few steps. So in the very first stanza, the poet portrays the tiger. टाइगर को पूरा पोर्ट्रेट किया है पोएट ने. मतलब पोर्ट्रेट करना मतलब पूरा एक्सप्लेन किया है कि वो कैसे दिखता है. वो बहुत ऐसा ह्यूज है, राइट. सो gigantic means very huge. So he is very huge with its bright colored stripes and that has been confined to the cage of the zoo. और उसकी एक एक हिलचाल में restrictions है. Why? Because he is now in the cage. So that's why whatever his movement are there. So वो जैसे चल रहा है वो भी ऐसे टाइगर की चाल कैसी होती है दैट वी नो, बट हियर ही हैज़ वेरी इनफ स्टेप्स, इनफ वॉक. The small space of the cage restricts his movement and allows him to take only a few steps, as he has a velvety pad on his legs. तो उसके legs कैसे है? velvety pad है, बहुत soft है. His movements are noiseless. तो वैसे उसके movements कैसे है यहाँ पे? He has velvet pads on his legs, so his movements are noiseless. मतलब आवाज़ नहीं होती है वैसे. But he is filled with anger as he is not in his natural habitat, because he wanted to live in forest, but right now he is in the cage, so that's why he filled with anger. He remains silent and doesn't roar or cry. But he is not sharing his feeling. Of course, he is not crying or he is not roaring, but he remains silent in the cage. So the poet is also trying to imply that the tiger is not making any noise, as his emotions and basic temperament or to roar and make noises suppressed. So here we have the literary device in the first stanza. Whatever the literary devices are used, figures of speech are used. So here we have, so the first, that is rhyme scheme. So here in the first stanza, A, B, C, B. So in the very first stanza, we have A, B, C, B rhyme scheme. So here B, that is common. A, B, C, B. So for B, cage and rage is there. So that's why that is there. Then personification. So in the first stanza, personification, that literary device is used. So here the poet personifies the tiger and calls it as he. Actually, the tiger, for the tiger we will use it, but here the poet has used for tiger he. So that's why that is personification. That figure of speech is used here. Then metaphor. So the tiger's paws are compared to velvet. Actually, they are not with velvet. उसके जो पॉ है, उसके जो लैग्स है, वहाँ पे वेलवेट लगाए नहीं जाता. बट द पोएट हैज़ कंपेयर्ड हिज पॉज विथ वेलवेट. हाउ सॉफ्ट हिज पॉज आर. Right, so that's why metaphor is used. Then alliteration, if the same sound occurs at the beginning of the adjacent of closely connected words in the same sentence, means the same repetition sound of the consonant sound. Repetition, but kiska repetition? The same consonant sound when it is repeated, so that is alliteration. So here we have stalks in his vivid stripes. So here sound is repeated. So that's why that is alliteration. Then repetition. So often a single word of phrase or line or sometimes the whole stanza is repeated to create a musical effect. तो पोएट्री में म्यूजिकल इफेक्ट क्रिएट करने के लिए रिपीटेशन यूज करते हैं पोएट टू एम्फसाइज अ पॉइंट. उसे म्यूजिकल इफेक्ट देने के लिए, उसे emphasize करने के लिए. So here we have velvet quite and quite rate. So that particular word is repeated. So that is our repetition. Next, oxymoron. So that is the figure of speech where two contradictory words or ideas are put together. मतलब contrast words जब use करते हैं, so that is oxymoron. So here quite rage. So quite rage. So this both words are totally contrast, opposite है. Rage जो है वो quite नहीं होता. So here quite and rage are contradictory, as rage is loud and not quite. So that's why that is oxymoron. So in the first stanza, that literary device is used. Transferred epithet. So that is a poetic device when the adjective is used not with the noun which is normally qualifies but with some other noun. जो पर्टिकुलर नाउन के साथ एडजेक्टिव यूज होना चाहिए उसके साथ नहीं होता, उसकी और जो क्वालिटीज है उसके साथ यूज होता है. सो हियर वी हैव द एग्जांपल लाइक quite rage. So here that is not the rage, that is quite but the tiger. Therefore quite is transferred epithet. So यहाँ पे ट्रांसफर्ड एपिथेट मतलब क्या होता है कि जो एडजेक्टिव जिसके साथ यूज होना चाहिए उसके साथ यूज नहीं होता. लाइक क्वाइट रेज, सो इट इज़ नॉट द रेज दैट इज क्वाइट. मतलब जो रेज क्वाइट नहीं है पर फिर भी उसके साथ यूज होता है, यूज हुआ है एक्चुअली. सो दैट इज अवर ट्रांसफर्ड एपिथेट. मतलब उसके साथ एक्चुअली नहीं यूज होता. जैसे हमने ऑक्सीमोरन में देखा कि वो टोटली ऑपोजिट है, टोटली कॉन्ट्राडिक्शरी है. सो फॉर दैट इज वी कैन से also epithet. Now let's move with second stanza. first stanza में क्या डिस्क्राइब किया था, लेट्स रिवाइज. फर्स्ट स्टांजा में ऐसा डिस्कस किया था कि कैसा टाइगर लग रहा था और कहाँ पे था. ही वॉज देयर इन द केज. सो इन द सेकेंड स्टांजा ही शुड बी लर्किंग इन शैडो, sliding through long grass near the water hole where plump deer pass. So here we can see that in the very second stanza the poet has used the other word in the other side of the tiger, that is in the natural aspect, right? So here in the second stanza the tiger was there in the forest. So उसे क्या करना चाहिए एक्चुअली, ही शुड बी लर्किंग इन शैडो, स्लाइडिंग थ्रू लॉन्ग ग्रासेस, बिहाइंड द लॉन्ग ग्रासेस ही शुड बी वेटिंग फॉर हिज plump deer, for his, because he was waiting for his prey as a hunter. So lurking means to be hidden and waiting for the prey. So he should be lurking behind the long grass. उसे जो लंबे लंबे ग्रास होते हैं फॉरेस्ट में उसके पीछे लपा के, ऐसे हम लोग बोलते हैं ना. सो ही शुड बी हिडन और उसे वेट करना चाहिए अपने प्रे मीन्स शिकार के लिए. ही शुड बी वेटिंग. सो इन द सेकेंड स्टांजा द पोएट pities the tiger and says that if the tiger is free he should be hiding among the long grass near the water hole and would be ready to hunt its prey, the plump deer. So what is the prey? The plump deer. जो डियर होता है एनिमल वो टाइगर के लिए शिकार है यहाँ पे. सो यहाँ पे बहुत ऐसी पीटीएबल मूवमेंट है. पीटीएबल मूवमेंट मतलब कि जो केज में टाइगर है तो उसे देखकर उसे बहुत ऐसी दया आती है. तो पोएट ऐसा सेकेंड स्टांजा में डिस्क्राइब करते हैं कि उसे कहाँ पे होना चाहिए एक्चुअली. सो वो कहते हैं इफ़ द टाइगर इज़ फ्री ही शुड बी हाइडिंग अमोंग द लॉन्ग ग्रासेस नियर द वाटर हॉल, जहाँ पे पानी वाटरफॉल होता है, मतलब तालाब वैसा सब कुछ जो फॉरेस्ट में होता है जहाँ पे वाइल्ड एनिमल्स या फिर कोई एनिमल्स पानी पीने के लिए आते हैं. तो वाई द टाइगर वॉज देयर लर्किंग बिहाइंड द लॉन्ग ग्रासेस and near waterfall, because all the animals were coming there to have water. So that's why it will be easy for the tiger to prey any plump deer. So that's why, and would be ready to hunt its prey, the plump deer, when it comes to have its water. When that plump deer that would be come to have its water, on that time the tiger he should be ready to hunt its prey. He feels pity for the tiger that it's not able to do so because he's there in the cage. So that is not possible for the tiger. It's a wild animal and it should be allowed to fetch its own food, but it is not able to do so while in the zoo. So here the poet tells us that the tiger, that is a wild animal, so it should be allowed. We should be allowed him to fetch his own food by his own. But right now he is not able to fetch his own food because he is there in the zoo. So in the second stanza also we have ABCB rhymes again. Enjambment means the line continues to the next line without punctuation mark. So that is also used. Then alliteration, plump, dear, pass in the very fourth line. So that alliteration is used. The repetition of consonant sound. Per sound is used here. Then third stanza. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge. उसे क्या करना चाहिए? He should be snarling around houses, घर के आसपास, जो जंगल का कोना जो होता है, एज होती है वहाँ पे. Baring his white fangs means खुले अपने बड़े बड़े जो टाइगर के बड़े बहुत बड़े दांत होते हैं, फैंग होते हैं, वाइट फैंग उसे बोलते हैं, उसके टीथ को. हिज क्लॉज एंड टेरराइजिंग द विलेज. सो स्नैलिंग मीन्स वार्निंग साउंड्स मेड बाय एनिमल्स. देन बैरिंग मीन्स अनकवर्ड, fangs the sharp tooth of animals. So in this stanza, in the very third stanza, the poet continues to explain about the natural habitat and the actual nature behavior of the tiger. So what is the actual behavior of the tiger? He says that it should actually be hunting around the houses that are near the edge of the forest and making noise and terrorizing and scaring the villagers with his sharp tooth and claws. टाइगर की एक आवाज़ ही सुनते हैं तो क्या क्या फील होता है? जस्ट इमेजिन इट. नॉट इन द केज, हाँ, ही इज़ नॉट इन द केज, ही इज़ आउट ऑफ हिज केज. So what will we feel? So that is the actual behavior of the tiger with his fangs and with his all his baring tooth, right? So ऐसे वो विलेज में आकर विलेजर्स को स्कैर करता है, डराता है. He says that it should actually be hunting around the houses that are near the edge of the forest, making noise and terrorizing and scaring the villagers with his sharp tooth and claws. But instead, it is deprived of its rights and is caged in the zoo. पर ऐसा सब कुछ नहीं पॉसिबल है. Why? Because he is there in the cage. उसके ये जो सारे राइट्स है, ये सब कुछ नहीं हो सकता है. ये सब कुछ नहीं हो सकता just because of his there in the cage. So what is the actual behavior? What is the natural behavior of the tiger? What is the situation of the tiger? So that is described. So in the third stanza, we have same rhyme scheme, ABCB rhyme scheme. Enjambment, line continues to the next without any punctuation. So first line to second line, that is enjambment, we can see. Then next literary device, that is onomatopoeia. So that is using words which denote sound. So that is snarling. So ये जो snarling है, that is sound which is created by the animals. So that is used here to denote the sound. That is onomatopoeia. Ponia भी बोल सकते हैं. Then fourth stanza, but he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. So, here, that imagination, the poet was imagining everything, the natural behavior of the tiger. But here, that is not possible. He is locked in the concrete cell. Concrete cell means सीमेंट और ईंटों से बना हुआ एकदम से मजबूत है. उसका जो केज है दैट इज़ वेरी with the help of concrete cell it was made, and his strength behind bars, उसकी जो strength है वो limited है. He could not show his strength in his cage. Stalking the length of his cage, he was just measuring the length of his cage and ignoring visitors. Concrete means building made of bricks, cement, sand, and water. So, here in this stanza, fourth stanza, the poet stops imagining about the life of the tiger in the forest. So, in the second and third stanza, whatever the poet had imagined about the life of the natural life of the tiger, it's all about the imagination. Why? Because right now the tiger is in the zoo, so he stops his imagining the life of the tiger and he comes to the reality where the tiger is confined to the cages of the zoo. He calls the cage as a small cell made of concrete. He says that all the strength of the tiger is suppressed, दबा दी है उसकी जो strength है, क्योंकि that is very limited in the cage, and he is forced to live behind the bars, unable to frighten and assault people. So what he was doing, he was ignoring visitors. He was not showing his strength, he was not showing his anger and everything. He was just measuring his cage and ignoring the visitors. So here we have the literary devices in the fourth stanza. Whatever the literary devices are used in stanza wise. So here again ABCB rhyme scheme is there. So personification, the tiger is personified because the poet refers him as he. So again the poet has used he for tiger. So that's why the personification is used. Alliteration, use of sound B at the start of two words which are behind bars. So that is the consonant sound. So that is alliteration. Fifth stanza, he hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. So what did he do at the last stanza? So that is our last stanza. He hears the last voice at night. So last में पूरे दिन के बाद रात जब होती है तो लास्ट में वो किसकी वॉइस सुनता है? द पेट्रोलिंग कार्स, जो चेकिंग करने के लिए आते हैं उसकी कार की आवाज़ जो आती है. ही वॉज लिसनिंग दैट वॉइस. ही स्टेयर्स विथ हिज ब्रिलियंट आइज at the brilliant stars. Why he stares with brilliant eyes to brilliant stars? Because he wanted to ignore all these things. He didn't want to stay in the cage, but he didn't have any he didn't have anything to go out, so he has to be there in the cage. So that's why he wanted to ignore all the things, and that's why he was staring at the stars. So patrolling means to guard, जो guard करता है, checking करता है. Patrolling cars are vehicles of police that guard at the night or in highway. So the poet says that the tiger can hear the last voice of the zookeepers locking the zoo and the noise of the patrolling cars that the zoo authorities use to keep watch of the surroundings, whether it is any needed or not. So the guards are keep watch of the surrounding. The noise of this patrolling vehicles represents the civilized world which stands in sharp contrast to the sound of the forest. So, the poet says that the tiger keeps staring at the beautiful shining stars of the night with its shining eyes. So, here we can again see the contrast. What is the contrast? So, vehicles that represent the civilized world, and in the other hand, the forest that is very uh, sh- that is very calm. सो सिविलाइज्ड वर्ल्ड मतलब वहाँ पे बहुत ऐसे ऐसी आवाज़ होती है, उसकी लाइफस्टाइल कैसी होती है. और सेकंड में फॉरेस्ट है जहाँ पे एकदम से कामनेस है, मतलब एकदम से शांत है. सो दिस टू लाइफ दैट इज टोटली डिफरेंट, सो दैट्स वाई दैट इज कॉन्ट्रास्ट. So the poet says the tiger kept staring at the beautiful shining stars of the night with its shining eyes. With his shining eyes. With its. मतलब टाइगर अपनी खुद की शाइनिंग आईज से शाइनिंग स्टार और ब्यूटीफुल स्टार को स्टार कर रहा है. द स्टार्स आर द ओनली रिमेनिंग पार्ट ऑफ द नेचर दैट ही रिमेन्स फ्रॉम द फॉरेस्ट. तो फॉरेस्ट से यहाँ पे आने तक एक ये स्टार ही जो है, जो नेचुरल है और वहाँ पे है और उसे याद है. सो दैट इज द स्टांजा. वी हैव ABCB rhyme scheme is used. Enjambment. Line continues to the next without any punctuation. So third and fourth line. Then repetition, figure of speech where a single word or phrase, line, or sometimes whole stanza is repeated to create musical effect to the emphasize a point. So here brilliant eyes and brilliant stars. So the sound b that is used, brilliant eyes and brilliant stars. So that is brilliant is repeated. So that is why that is repetition. So here in this poem we have total 5 stanza. Each stanza had 4 lines each. In the second and third stanza the poet has used the imagination of the tiger. That tiger was imagining, as well as the poet was imagining, that the tigers, where should he स्टे. तो एक्चुअली उसे कहाँ पे रहना चाहिए और क्या करना चाहिए, तो वो भी एक्सप्लेन किया है. और केज में उसकी क्या हालत है, what is the condition of the tiger in the cage, what is the condition of the tiger in the forest as well as in the village, कैसे डराते हैं सबको. सो दैट इज ऑल अबाउट अ टाइगर इन द जू. It's all about the contrast situation of the tiger, whether to stay in the zoo or to go out. So that is not possible for it, right? So the poet has used the contrast between these two things. Okay, so it's all about this poem. So students, in your homework you have to write down the literary devices and new words of this poem from this video. Okay students, so that is your homework and send it to me on time. So here we are going to end up our today's lecture, as well as our poem is going to end it. Okay, so if you find any difficulty regarding this, you all are free to ask me anytime. Thank you my dear all students, and have a nice day.